them as well. What a move for the 48. Oh, look at this, and onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from the number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
After 11 weeks, it all comes down to this. Just one more week to decide who is going to be champions here in the World GT Championship. Season 15 comes to a wrap right here at Sebring International Raceway for two 45-minute races. Paul Smith and Peter Mackay here for you for all of today's action. And Peter, I mean, I don't think we've ever had such a close championship finale as what we've got coming into us.
This is going to be a real thriller. James Boumé, Jack Sedgwick, Ross McFarlane all going head to head for that coveted World GT title. Would you believe that the only one out of those three who hasn't won it is Jack Sedgwick, believe it or not? So lots on offer tonight, but they've got to conquer Sebring International Raceway first, and that is a big enough challenge in itself.
Absolutely, you've got to respect the bump. So if you look at the calendar all the way back to season start, January the 22nd at Imola, we then headed through to Interlagos, Gilles Villeneuve, Mugello, Rud Atlanta, what a fantastic track that is, Barber, Nürburgring, Mount Panorama, Monza, Belle Isle, last week's endurance race at Watkins Glen, and now we're here. April the 29th, Sebring International Raceway for two feature rounds of the World GT Championship. And well, speaking of those championships, it is incredibly close at the top. Just 2 points separate James Boumé for Altitude Esports and Jack Sedgwick for NX Racing, as then Ross McFarlane a further 17 points back from Jack in that WSR Esports butt kicker car. Dennis Grabowski, he's not out of a shout of this, however he does have a qualifying ban this week which will hinder his outside chance of winning the championship. Anders Meyer, unfortunately not feeling too well to be able to race in tonight, is 5th ahead of Ethan Critchley, Michael Evdoka, Arthur Thurtle, Alex Davidson and Axel Slipčević rounding out the top 10 in Pro. In your Pro-Am Championship, 68 points separate Adam Watson and Paul Webster. Watson has led for the majority of the season in his Altitude Esports blue car, but don't write off Paul in his Full Tilt V Motorsport Audi. In 3rd place is Andy Archer for Atomic Esports. He's just 2 points ahead of the Full Tilt V Motorsport driver of Michael Gray. 96 points covering the first 4. Eric Rousseff has had a resurgence mid-season. He's only 136 points behind of the championship hunt, with Till Sommerfeld, Jack Osborne still mathematically possible for them to win Pro-Am, with Jamie Rushworth, Simon Lersing and Mattia Catania rounding out the top 10. In AM, it is Giuseppe Mascella for the ADX Racing Team, has a 56-point lead over Simon Andre Livingston's Racing Lab Esports Ferrari. Josh Booth is in 3rd place. He's been so quick this season, but not had that consistency. He's just 3 points ahead of Andrea Corbellini. Craig Jones in 5th is a further 12 points back from them. And Kevin Stringer in 6th ahead of Stephen Koenig. Byron Crawford, Johnny Elia and Dwayne Hoffman round out your top 10 in AM. The Teams Championship, well, these are incredibly close as well. Just 22 points separate Altitude Esports and WSR Esports butt kicker. Racing Lab Esports are quite a way back in 3rd place ahead of the Altitude Esports blue team, although the blue team have a chance of getting into that top 3. WSR Esports, German Sim Racing Pro, Boots and VDS by Undercut, Olympus Esports and Effect Simulations round out the 9 teams in that. Then in Pro-Am, it is the Full Tilt V Motorsport team who just have a 4-point lead over Atomic Esports in 2nd place. They've got a big gap back to the ADX Racing Team in 3rd. German Sim Racing AM 4th ahead of Full Tilt V Simsport 5th. SCCR Simsport in 6th ahead of 11 Tenths Racing. 3M UK and Novier Racing Team in 9th place. We are a little bit earlier, we're a little bit ahead of time, which does mean that we can actually catch Peter the last 5 minutes of this crucial qualifying session for these drivers out here, because as we've talked about it, close championships in Pro, Pro-Am and AM. You look at it, race wins for Pro, James Boumé 4, Jack Sedgwick 3, Ross McFarlane 2. There's 2 bonus points on offer if you get pole position here.
Well, it's so close. I mean, there's only 2 points between Boumé in the championship lead and Cedric in second. So yes, this is very much a critical qualifying session. Who's that towing behind Jack Cedric? I see. Was that McFarlane?
I believe, no, it wasn't.
Okay, interesting. I didn't think he would have allowed that.
Michael Avdoka. It's
Okay.
Michael Avdoka behind him. So, but yeah, it's incredible just how this season has gone so far in terms of the championships. I know we've been focusing so much on the Pro Championship, but you look at both teams' championships are not sealed. Pro-Am and Pro, there's less than 70 points in those as well. It is incredible what the series has produced this season.
It's fantastic. In my memory, this is the best World GT Championship we've had on a lot of counts. Actually, I think. I mean, the closeness of the competition, the points speak for themselves between Boumé, Cedric, and McFarlane. There he is, James Boumé himself, the defending champion. Can he make it 2 in a row? It's a big night for James. But I tell you what, for me, Paul, the driving standards this year in the championship have been night and day better than they have been the last season or two. I think it's been a big step in the right direction as far as that's concerned.
The marker has been set by Ross McFarlane, 2 minutes, .005. Here comes Boumé then across the line. What is his first fast lap going to be? It's not quick enough for pole position. Now, they've got 3 minutes left in qualifying. Do you do a little bit of a cool-down lap here, Peter? Get the tyres back into a bit of a sort of threshold and then go for it again?
Yeah, and you need to get yourself a bit of clean air too, or make sure you still have clean air for that last dash for the flag. So just right on the 2 minute, the 2 minute mark, Ross McFarlane on pole from his teammate Ethan Critchley, and that I can assure you is critical because Critchley can play the team game. He can play rear gunner there to Ross McFarlane and hold off the likes of Cedric. Throw Alex Davidson in that mix as well. He can hold Boumé at bay. So, you know, McFarlane's got real allies up there.
And look at those conditions. No wonder they're having to do a little bit of a cool down lap. 41 degrees track temperature here. You can see why drivers are backing off, just letting the tyres cool down that little bit, because it's a relatively long lap around here when you think about it, a 2 minute lap. It is quite incredible just how much load gets put through those tyres as well. There's quite a few long radius corners here.
There is, and the surfaces can be really quite wearing on the tyres. It's very changeable here at Sebring. A lot of old concrete, there's bits of tarmac, and it's very rough around the edges. Is those facilities? They've been racing here for 72 years. Oh dear.
Oh,
that's Slipchevich. Yes, that's Boumé's teammate. Yes, that would have been bad if that was the number one of James Boumé, who really needs to try and get himself off that third row. He needs to get further up and closer to McFarlane. You can see the drivers just trying to get that temperature just right and that pressure just right before they go into what will be a last chance qualifying lap.
Ethan Critchley was slowing right down in front of Jack Cedric down the back straight, down the Ormond straight, and I don't think Cedric wanted Ethan to be holding him up here, so yeah, we'll have to see. We've got watch parties at Altitude Esports. We've also got the full Tilt team with a watch party as well. Great to have you all along with everybody else here in this broadcast. It is going to be absolutely sensational.
So live in 4K for this final round of the season. It's going to be a thriller. I cannot wait. 46 thousandths of a second. Get it? I tell you what, 47 thousandths covering the top three right now between McFarlane, Critchley and Cedric. Mixture of the Lamborghinis of WSR Esports and the Ferraris of Jack Cedric and of James Boumé in there. Interesting stuff. McFarlane, he'll be delighted with this. It's been a difficult second half of the season, it must be said. He had a big lead at the end of the first half of the season, and it's kind of ebbed away. It sort of slipped through his fingers, but that's the way to change the tide with a pole position, if he can hang on.
Oh, Boumé's had to abandon his lap straight away. That's his qualifying done. Ross McFarlane, the only person he's got to worry about, really, is Jack Sedgwick that we're seeing Bume on the webcam there. Oh, you can see what that means to him. Oh my goodness, the pressure is on James. That means that 2 points could potentially be going to either Ross McFarlane or Jack Sedgwick, his championship rivals. And Sedgwick, if he gets pole position, that puts him even going into the first race.
Just to make it even closer. Let's see what Sedgwick can do then in this menacing black number 10 Inex Ferrari. It's been a great season, particularly the second half of the season. Been really, really strong, has Sedgwick. And he's backed out of it as well. No more.
McFarlane is heading to the line. He will be setting another lap time here. He goes across the line and does improve his time. Oh my goodness, Ross McFarlane putting the benchmark down here for the rest of the Pro Challengers.
Well, that's huge. That's absolutely huge. You've got 3 WSR Esports Lamborghinis on the first 2 rows of the grid. That is absolutely critical, because that is going to make James Bume's life from 5th on the grid doubly difficult.
Yeah, you think about it. Bume 5th, that's the 3rd row of the grid. He's got his championship rivals in McFarlane and Sedgwick in front of him. McFarlane's got 2 extra points there, getting pole position, so that's going to put him 17 points behind Bume coming into this race. Oh my goodness, this is going to be an absolute thriller in Florida. And let's take you to the penultimate grid of the season. Don't forget as well, we do have a reverse grid draw coming up for you after this race, but it's a all WSR Esports butt kicker front row for Ross McFarlane and Ethan Critchley. Jack Sedgwick, the driver in 2nd place in the championship, is lining up on row number 2 with Alex Davidson, who's had some really good form around this circuit, around this season's latter part of the season, should I say. Then, 3rd row of the grid, James Bume, who is the Pro Championship leader. He's got some hard work to do here today. Alongside him, worth mentioning, Pro-Am pole position and 2 bonus points to Sil Sommersfeld for German Sim Racing Am. Row number 4 is Michael Evdoka and Jack Osborne, who's had a bit of an up and down season as Jack, but he's still doing himself well to be on row number 4. Row 5 for Axel Sliptrovic and Andy Archer. Paul Webster is crucially on row number 6 alongside Eric Rousseff. That means that they are ahead of Adam Watson. Adam Watson there, row number 7, Pro-Am Championship leader. He's just got to keep behind Paul Webster and get those points for him. Alongside him, Jamie Rushworth. Then, next row of the grid on row number 8, it's Mark Hutchinson and Simon Lersing, with Mattia Catania and Michael Gray on row number 9. 10th row of the grid for Will Guthrie and Phil Samways. Josh Boot, the ever-impressive Josh Boot, has got another AM pole position. Alongside him is Adam Tompkins, who's had a mare of a qualifying there to be on row number 11. Row 12 for Arthur Thurtle and Ben Cullen. Then the 13th row is Giuseppe Maschella, the AM Championship leader. He's just going to get himself some good points here today. Alongside him, Simon Andre Livingston, his nearest rival. Then, row number 14, Andrea Corbellini and Kevin Stringer, with Dwayne Hoffman and Ben Gregory on row number 15. The 16th row of the grid is Brian Balterson and Stephen Koenig, with Dennis Grabowski. No qualifying for him. He had a qualifying ban, so he's starting all the way down on row number 17 with Raphael Schiffer. Craig Jones and Byron Crawford on row number 18. And Nathan Healy right at the back of the grid. Well, this is going to be an intriguing opening race of the evening. Track temperature is slowly coming down from qualifying. It is coming up to 4:15 in the evening in sim time. I mean, this Florida track, you've got to respect the bumps, you've got to respect the tyres around here. With it being a 45-minute race, Peter, I don't see there being any tyre changes, and if there is, you can only get 1 tyre change done.
Yeah, I think I would imagine the teams will look at that and see if that's worth it, or whether they just keep the existing tyres on, keep the same set, the feeling of the car. So looking after the tyre could be really, really important here in these races. And yeah, because Sebring really does punish the tyre quite significantly due to, as you mentioned, the kind of radius of the corners, but also the actual surface of the track itself. It's not necessarily abrasive, but it's just the way that the tyre reacts with the surface here. It really does wear it out quite quickly. So we'll see who manages that quite well. I mean, that's something that Ross McFarlane has been renowned for over the years.
I will say that the series admins, as there's Stephen Koenig giving us his point of view of him racing. He hasn't got his little friend with him today. Had a stuffed toy last time. I will say that I will give a mention to the series admins. This season, they got the rankings of the drivers, Pro, Pro-Am and Am. I think they got it the best that they've ever got it with how close each of those series are.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. You just have to look at the points scored, and that just confirms that viewpoint entirely. And then in the pros, I mean, they're just three drivers with differing journeys here. You've got Boumet, who won the Pro-Am Championship 2 seasons ago, then won the Pro Championship in his first year. He's looking to do 2 in a row. McFarlane, he's the established multiple champion, 4 times a champion, more than any other. And then Jack Sedgwick, who's an ex-World Championship driver, but yet has never won the World GT Championship, has never been able to string that full season together. This is his chance to set that right tonight.
This is certainly going to be a fantastic race to look forward to on one of the all-time great endurance venues of the world. It's Sebring International Raceway. We have got 2 45-minute races with a pit stop in each of them. Strategy, fuel efficiency, action, drama, we're going to have it all here today. The iRacing pace car, the Porsche pace car, is going to pull off to drivers right into pit road, and we are getting set for 45 minutes of action. Here we go, green flag racing at Sebring International Raceway. 37 cars head down towards turn number 1, and it's a WSR 1, 2 and 3 because Alex Davidson has got ahead of Jack Sedgwick. That's crucial for Ross McFarlane's championship here. It's McFarlane from Critchley, from Davidson. That is a perfect start if you're a WSR Esports bookkicker or driver, as we've got spinners. It's Eric Rousseff is around, there's a couple others as well. One of the ADX cars is around, but we stay green flag racing.
And that is the dream scenario for Ross McFarlane, to have not 1 but 2 rear gunners behind him to protect him from any advances whatsoever from his rivals, from Jack Sedgwick there in 4th, but Boumet, he's marred back in the mess. He really is a pinball there at the back, and he's now side by side with the other WSR Lamborghini of Michael Evdoka. He's got to get past Michael as soon as he possibly can. Hard on the brakes here, coming down into Cunningham. And has he got the job done? No, and he's getting absolutely no help at all from Evdoka. Surprise, surprise.
Paul Webster is around, there's yellow flags, and Paul Webster is facing the wrong way, but we stay green flag racing, and Evdoka getting the power out of tower, and through he goes. Oh, Boumet! Oh no, it's not. It is Boumet! He's into the wall! Oh, that's a huge incident with his teammate! Oh my goodness, what on earth has happened there?
Well, James, I think very restrained in the circumstances there. We'll try and piece through that one, but the fact that it was an incident with the WSR Lamborghini, I'm sure, will not go unnoticed.
I could tell you that car number 33, Mark Hutchinson, was the other Altitude Esports car involved in that one. Jamie Rushworth is running slow. Here we go. Here's a look at this one, Peter. Let's digest this.
Okay, so they're coming up towards Jean de Bien Bend. Yeah, Boumet's clearly doing his own debrief, really of the incident. I mean, all he can do is tow back to pit lane, take the fast repair, and yeah, and just try and score some points, try and get as good a grid position for.
It's unfortunate, and this impact, by the way, is the worst. Oh
yeah.
My goodness. Jamie Rushworth, an innocent party in all of that, has just had nowhere to go through that incident.
Would be interesting to see it on board from both cars there, because it's, you know, gives you one perspective there. This is from Hutchison, so it's kind of the incident's already, I mean, it's already done, and then Hutchison arrives on the scene, and yeah, I don't think he quite expects a car to speed across the road.
I mean, we are looking at this quite a lot, and you can imagine why we are, because this is your Pro Championship leader, came into this race just 2 points clear, and yeah, I mean, Rushworth's got nowhere to go in all of that.
I'd like to see that from Bume's perspective, and indeed from Evdoka's perspective.
Well, it's this view I want to see from above. Is it a case of Bume's turning? Oh, there's a little bit of, it's side-to-side contact when it isn't really needed between the two of them.
Yeah, that's it's hard to come with words for that one.
Good luck being a steward.
Yeah,
is what I'd say.
Yeah, good luck making a call on that. I think it has to be taken into account. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see Evdoka's steering input, but the car definitely jinks to the right.
Well, just to keep everyone up to date, while we are looking at these, it is still the 3 WSR Esports cars up at the front here. He is Michael Evdoka. I think it's just with how the track goes. I don't think he's turned in quite as early as Bume would have expected him to, because through that left-hander there at Bishop, you do generally cut across that curb, and Evdoka's not taken that line, whereas Bume's sort of saying, well, I need to turn at some point.
Well, it's that just blows this championship battle wide open. Bume is far from out of it. You know, coming into this round, Bume is 19 points ahead of McFarlane in third. Yes, only 2 points ahead of Cedric, but if he gets back to pit lane, gets the fast repair, just get out there. There he is already. He's got the fast repair, the spare car effectively, and just got to get as far up the order as he possibly can. Now there's his teammate who was involved in the same incident right behind Mark Hutchison. So, how the tides change. It's kind of been all Bume, all Cedric the last few rounds, and then things turn around and head back in the favour of WSR Esports and Ross McFarlane.
Well, it's not over yet, though, because, as you say, there's still plenty of points available in this one. And remember, in that spin of the wheel, we do have a full reverse grid is a possibility to happen here. And also, there could be plenty more incidents happen in this race that could affect McFarlane and Cedric as well. So do not write this one out yet. Adam Watson, your Pro-Am Championship leader, 9th overall right now. He's quite comfortable because Paul Webster, well, on lap 1, he had issues down at Cunningham. So I don't know what happened to him. All I saw on my end was a yellow flag showing on my track map with Paul Webster's name to it. So, yeah, something happened there between Webster and somebody else. Paul is back out there running. Just ahead of James Bume, in fact, in all of this. Jack Osborne, he's got a Pro-Am win to his name this season. He's had a bit of an up-and-down season, though, hasn't he? Whereas Adam Watson, it's been a long season. I mean, this is, it was earlier on the lap, on lap 1, at Cunningham Corner, so a lot earlier than what we've been able to pick up. Oh, and that was Mark Hutchinson wiping out. Now, I don't think, to be fair to Mark Hutchinson, I don't think he had a lot of choice in the direction of the car, because remember, he got involved in that incident, did Hutchinson, He's the one who wiped out Bume. His car was toast.
Yeah, completely toast. Yeah, I don't think he's got.
Well, he could have waited. He's got a broken front suspension. Oh
yeah,
dear.
maybe wait for a gap. Yeah.
Oh, I can tell you right now that Conor Maddock has probably muted his microphone, because I would imagine that the most vulgar words will have come out of his mouth on the rejoin on that. The arbiter of track rejoins is Conor Maddock, our producer here today. Yeah, I think the least said about that one, the better. Across the line, then, it is still the three WSR esports cars. McFarlane, Critchley and Davidson at the front. They are pulling slightly away from Jack Sedgwick right now. You touched on it on that opening lap, Peter. Ross McFarlane could not have got a more perfect start than what he's got right there.
Perfect for his own driving, you know, put it on pole and get out there at the front. But to have two teammates behind him, that is just the dream scenario, because they can protect him. They can fight hard to keep Sedgwick at bay. I'm sure Sedgwick's aware of that. He will be taking that into account. I think for Sedgwick, he's going to think, right, I've got to go on a massive fuel save here if I can, and try and jump them in the pit stops. And actually, I think we can see Sedgwick going a bit risky on the fueling time and try to underfuel a little to get the track position and get onto McFarlane's case, and then maybe have to do a bit more fuel saving again in the second stint. Let's watch it.
I mean, we've seen how fuel efficient that Ferrari has been this season, haven't we? As we look at this race for 13th at the moment, Phil Samway, Simon Lewis and Josh Boot. Boot, of course, in terms of leading the AM drivers in this race, 15th place overall. AM Championship leader Giuseppe Moschella, second place in AM, 17th overall, doing what Giuseppe needs to do here in this one. So yeah, it's certainly I said it was going to be drama filled, didn't I? At the start of this one, and it certainly has had a season's worth of drama in the first lap.
Yeah, it's all kicked off, hasn't it? Here at Sebring. Adam Watson, though, all going well for him for Altitude Esports. He's got a decent lead coming in here, and well, with his nearest rival in the fence, that's really a dream scenario for Adam Watson, your championship leader in Pro-Am. As we've said several times across this season, it's a different Adam Watson that's turned up this year. A much more measured approach, much more consistent, way less accidents, and that, well, we always know he's been fast, and he's been able to put the whole package together and put himself in a great spot to pick up a championship crown.
Absolutely. So I think Watson is playing the smart game right now. He's third place in Pro-Am. Andy Archer is his next closest rival after Paul Webster. 94 points back was Andy. He's just ahead of Adam in all of this. So I think Adam just needs to get himself points. He doesn't need to put too much pressure on himself here to win, because this track really isn't that Porsche's best track, is it? He says with Till Sommerfeld in 5th place.
I would say actually it's a decent package. You've got some kind of slow medium speed corners like this one here coming out of Tower. The Porsche's got some good acceleration. You can see it there quite visibly. Just gallops down the Flying Fortress straight towards Jean de Bien Bend. So yeah, there definitely has its pluses. It's also a very stable car, and one thing you need over the bumps of Sebring is stability.
Yeah, you do. That is, you're absolutely right there, Peter. Especially through the final corner, Sunset Bend. It's a corner of 1,000 lines is this final corner, but it's got some nasty bumps part-way through it as well that can really unsettle a car. You're braking and turning, which already unsettles the car, and then you've got these bumps mid-corner that can just kick the back end around a little bit and get it a little bit loose, but both of these drivers doing a very good job so far of managing the bumps of this track. We have got 32 minutes and 32 seconds remaining in this round number 19 of the World GT Championship. There is one more race after this one, so championships are not signed, sealed and delivered yet. That is for sure. There's still going to be plenty to stick around to watch and see. I mean, if James Boumet can make his way through the field, it'll be one heck of a recovery drive if he's able to do that.
It will. I think this isn't going to be done, not even until the final checkered flag drops. I think that there could be a lot of discussions in terms of with incident points, etc., where that's all got to be calculated in to see what the ultimate outcome is. The points are so close that it could go just any which way. Very, very. This is why we watch racing, isn't it? To see that anticipation, that unpredictability of a championship battle. Josh Boot, who's had a fairly up and down season. The ups have been fantastic. He's had double victories at multiple rounds, but he's also had some pretty calamitous races as well. He leads in AM at the moment in 15th position, and probably maybe allowing a thought to creep into his head that, oh, this is a what could have been. I could have won this championship.
Yeah, certainly could. He certainly had the pace to be able to win the championship. It's just been that consistency, and we've talked about it all season. He's been so impressive for an AM with his out-and-out pace, but yeah, that consistency has just been a little bit lacking there, and if he can work on that, I think next season he's got a great chance of a AM championship battle. But who is leading the AM championship right now is that driver on screen, car 26 of Giuseppe Moschella. Currently finds himself in 18th place behind Raphael Schiffer. Moschella, I mean, right now if you're Moschella, you're battling Simon Landry Livingston, who is behind by a few cars. You've just got to put the times in and score the points, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, Moschella's in the ideal position to score some huge points. I mean, he's second in the AM class right now in this race, so yeah, perfect for him in that Porsche. Interestingly, the AM and the Pro-Am championships both being led convincingly by Porsches. Just Stephen Koenig getting a bit of the a little bit of the face steering wheel there. I do it with my tongue, actually. When I'm concentrating, my tongue sticks out. Playing pool, golf shots, playing curling shots, always the tongue just creeps out.
If anybody's ever watched one of my sim racing streams, they'll immediately go, "Oh yeah, the tongue's out. He's concentrating." That's it's that. He's not got the sim racer's lean though. If Adam Watson had joined us on the old webcam, we would have seen the sim racer's lean happening there. As Stephen just goes a little bit deep into Cunningham, as we cut back now to Axel Slipjovic and Michael Evdoka. Now, these two, they've had, again, mixed fortunes this season. Axel, to be fair, he is currently in 10th place. Michael Evdoka's in 7th in the championship. I don't see even one of them being able to compete against each other in terms of moving forward in championship positions. But they'll be doing this for pride and doing this to get whatever they can for their teams, because don't forget, it's Altitude Esports are fighting against WSR Esports Bookkicker for the Pro Teams Championship. There was only 22 points separating them, and it's the top 2 point scorers for the week in terms of the teams scoring. Right now, Axel Slipjovic is the top point scorer for Altitude Esports.
I would think Axel Slipjovic will not be in any mood to give Michael Evdoka's WSR Lamborghini any much of very much space. I would think after what happened on lap 1 with his teammate James Boumet. I'm sure the Altitude radio was pretty busy around that time. So yeah, he's not going to make it easy at all for Michael Evdoka there as they battle over 6th position in the race at the moment. So Ethan Critchley has the fastest lap of the race, right in behind his race leading teammate Ross McFarlane. His other teammate Alex Davidson right in behind. Cedric's just right there. Cedric is not gained or lost any time from the 3 WSR Lamborghinis ahead, and I suspect he might be doing a big amount of fuel saving in this opening stint.
Now, not taking into account any fastest laps or any potential incident point penalties for any of the drivers, because of course once they hit 5 incident points, every 2 incident points that they accumulate, they lose a point from the championship total. If things stood as they are now, and not taking that instant point thing into consideration, Ross McFarlane and Jack Cedric would be even.
Oh.
From my quick back of the envelope maths. Now, we all know that commentators' maths is never the most accurate, shall we say.
But it proved, even if you're a couple out, Paul, it's going to be mighty close, even more close than it was when we arrived for the start of this race. Arthur Turtle into the pits, does not go up on the jack, so not taking any tyres change during his brief pit stop. So he's the first of our kind of top pace cars that's coming in to take service.
Adam Tompkins has had an accident through Sunset Bend, has retired the car to pit road, so that is his first race done. So yeah, it's here we are, and that behind is Catania, Mattia Catania. So into Sunset Bend, there's damage to the front of that Porsche already, and just the little slightest of touches. And Brian Balterson comes around with nowhere to go.
That's unlucky there for Brian. Just minding his own business, trying to get into the pits. Just got a little bit tangled up there. So when are our leaders going to blink? When are they going to come in for their service? Ethan Critchley right in there behind McFarlane. He's not going to be putting any challenge on his teammate if he's fancies joining the team again in future. So I think he'll just be standing there holding station, as will Davidson, and that's why Cedric's only play here really is to fuel save like mad in this opening stint. Keep them in view, of course, but fuel save like mad and try and hop them in the pit stops.
Now, worth pointing out, Ethan Critchley, by him getting fastest lap in this race, he would actually be potentially taking 2 points away from Ross McFarlane. Ross McFarlane, to help his cause, needs the fastest lap just to really boost his chances by a couple of extra points. It's a maximum points haul of 232 points. That's if you win both races. Ross has already got the 2 points for pole position. 2 points for fastest lap per class, so each class has its own fastest lap points, and 3 points for the lowest incident count per race as well. So if Ross can keep it a clean race as well, potentially be looking at another 3 points there. The championship permutations, they're just, it's going to be good luck us trying to keep up with this one. Thankfully, series administrators Andy Shield, Paul Webster are both going to be keeping us up to date between the 2 races. They're going to be updating the points to let us know where we stand, because if you've been watching all season, you'll be saying, well, hang on a second, Paul, there's dropped scores in this series, so it's not that easy. Well, it is easy for us because the drop scores finished last week.
Thank goodness. Yes. Yeah, very glad of that. It makes it a little bit clearer, and I think adds a bit of a little bit of spice to that final round as well. That it's all jeopardy. Yeah, a bit of jeopardy. To watch others in jeopardy, not be in jeopardy.
Do you know
I've never
what?
watched the television program Jeopardy.
No, actually, I haven't. I know of it. But yes, no, I haven't seen that. I have been involved in touring car series where I was in hunt for a championship on the season finale where it mattered, and something always happened. Some would say it's my lack of talent, but I would say it was other people getting involved in incidents and gathering me up in those. But I know the pressure that quite a few of these drivers are going through right now in their championship finale, because you second guess everything. You think, oh, is that gap really big enough to make a move? You start second guessing yourself, and you start changing how you drive, and that's the worst thing that you can do, isn't it, Peter?
I can't say from personal experience, but yes, I've been told that's the
Well,
case.
you want to drive how you've been driving all season, don't you?
You do, yeah, I totally agree. The point is absolutely valid, although I'd be lying if I said that I'd been in that same position. But yeah, it's very important. Riding with Andy Archer in the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, near that 5.2 litre V10 singing behind the bulkhead. Andy, a real seasoned competitor in this championship. Sits in 8th right now overall, 2nd in Pro-Am. Very good run so far.
Yeah, doing well is Andy, of course. 3rd place in the Pro-Am Championship coming into this week. Fighting Paul Webster and Michael Gray to stay in that top 3. We've not touched on it pretty much all season, but it's not just the pride of winning a championship. You also get some trophies. So for the top 3 drivers of each class, they get a trophy. The first place team, for all drivers in that team, get a trophy as well in each of the classes. 3M UK providing prizes for the 1st, 2nd and 3rd places, and Simutech as well for the 1st place driver in each class getting the Simutech SDU3 Dash. So some big prizes on offer. And Alex Davidson, interesting, he's coming onto pit road with 20.5 minutes to go.
Very interesting indeed, yes. So Davidson in to the pits then. He's not taking tyres, just fuel then for Davidson. And off he goes, quick as that.
So we're talking, what, 14.5 seconds, aren't we? I think that's the benchmark for us, Peter, is seeing as he was one of those front runners in draft as well, so he was doing a bit of fuel saving.
Yeah, you'd think so. You'd think so. And again, he wasn't having to chase hard after his teammate. He was simply just there. You know, he's there to protect McFarlane and to help McFarlane win this championship, and indeed, of course, WSR to win the team's championship.
Is that a little bit of a tactical play from WSR Esports Bookkicker to have Davidson pit now? Because that actually has dropped Sedgwick out of the slipstream of McFarlane and Critchley. He was getting a little bit of slipstream from them, and Davidson pitting now drops him out of that.
Yeah, that quite possibly that could be a factor, yes. I would agree.
I mean, if you're McFarlane, that is pretty much the perfect situation of having those 2 drivers behind you as your teammates, backing you up in this championship finale. It works out pretty well for him, for them to be able to have that tactical advantage there of working together and doing a bit of fuel saving. Come across the line again. McFarlane and Critchley leading ahead of Jack Sedgwick. They are coming up to lap traffic, and that is Mark Hutchinson. So the recovering Mark Hutchinson. Now, he won't do anything nefarious, I don't think, but Hutchinson for Altitude Esports is ahead. Lap down, he's doing that recovery drive. James Boume has only just been able to catch up to Paul Webster, and that's because Webster's taking an extra pit stop.
Of course, yeah, because it had pitted too early in the window there after that incident with Hutchison early on. 18 minutes to go then. Critchley and McFarlane then carry on as their teammates takes that early stop. Archer, Watson, Samways and Boot all in now as well from just outside the top 15.
Yeah, Catania is on pit road, Nathan Heel is on pit road, Stephen Koenig's on pit road. It's pit stop time for quite a few drivers. top 12 still owe us a pit stop. Dennis Grabowski, I must say, I know we're in the pit stop cycle at the moment, 8th place from the back of the grid. It's a gain of 25 places.
That's huge. Yeah, that's a really impressive run from Grabowski, and yeah, he will be wanting to get as far up the order as he can for his team, for that team championship too, and try and grab the reverse grid for race 2. You know, where that reverse grid lands could be absolutely critical to the outcome of this championship, and whether, you know, at the moment, where's James Boumé got to? He's he's 32nd. Really, he kind of needs a complete reverse grid actually.
Yeah. And he owes us a pit stop as well, does James, because of course that pit stop was to get his repairs done. Yeah, this is. If you're James, do you almost pit now and get yourself out of those drivers as your leaders are onto pit road? So the front 3 hit pit road. They've decided now is the time to pit. They're running out of fuel. And here they come, and we've got a veritable pit party because everybody else is heading on to the pumps.
So in they come then. There was no change for Davidson and no change for either of the other WSR kicker Lamborghinis, neither for Cedric. There is though for Till Sommerfeld in the Porsche, who's decided to go for some tyres, as has Axel Slepcevic in the Ferrari, as has the Audi, of Michael Gray. Same order coming in the pit lane as is going out right now. Cedric not able to jump. Can he jump Davidson though? It's going to be tight.
Oh, this is on pit exit. Here's Davidson rocking up here. Almost contact between the two of them. There's a squeeze from Cedric. Davidson's keeping his nose in there, but he's done it. So Cedric has got ahead of Davidson through that pit stop cycle. And the crucial thing for Cedric here as well is he came out of the pit right on the tail of Ethan Critchley. He was almost 2 seconds back off of Ethan coming onto pit road.
Jack Cedric though, 1.5 seconds less fuel put in than Ethan Critchley, 1.2 less than McFarlane, and 0.8 less than Davidson. So he's definitely short-failed a little. So he won't be able to go full rich, I don't think, unless he's done a huge amount of fuel saving in the opening stint. Can he get past Ethan Critchley here and try and chase down Ross McFarlane? And immediately McFarlane is getting a wriggle on.
I don't blame him. I think right now that the tactics change from let's all keep 3 together and work together here. All of a sudden it's now Ross, you make a breakaway, Ethan will act as rear gunner, and Davidson will be attacking from the rear of Cedric as well to keep him busy so that they can all sort themselves out and to try and get a wriggle on there. James Boumé has come onto pit road, has taken his planned fuel stop, and is coming out in 34th place. A lonely place for him. He needs that full reverse grid. Wow, let's just take a stock of where we are right now. We've got 14 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. It is your 4 times World Sim Racing GT champion of Ross McFarlane leading this race ahead of Ethan Critchley. Jack Cedric, championship rival, as Adam Watson's going side by side with the Full Tilt V Motorsport car. That's Michael Gray that he's fighting with. There's a flash of the headlights from Adam as they're coming towards turn number 1. If I'm Adam, I'm not fighting this one too hard. I know that I just have to score points in this one. But yeah, Alex Davids. Oh no! Contact between the two of them.
Oh dear.
You don't need to do it, Adam.
No.
How many times? Let's have a look back. This is one of our drivers further down. Oh, that was a different incident. But we're trying to get the replay of our producers furiously pressing buttons behind the scenes. This is live broadcasting, folks. These things happen. Here we go. So this was going into Sunset Bend. If I'm Adam, down the start and finish straight, I'm just breathing out the throttle and saying, Michael, if you're that desperate to get ahead of me, go right ahead.
Yeah, you would think so. As immediately Watson goes to the inside, he goes defensive, then moves across, holds his line, and then coming out.
They just seem to get stuck together, don't they?
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think it quite meant for that, but they both got away with it. But yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, that. But change for a critical change for third position. Alex Davidson has moved past Jack Sedgwick. That is so important, where every point is so valuable in this championship battle.
Yeah, it really is crucial for Sedgwick, for Critchley, for McFarlane, for Davidson, this front four. The crucial thing for Ross McFarlane, as a car just came out of pit road then in front of your leaders, that was Mark Hutchison for Altitude Esports Blue. He's getting out of the way of them. But the crucial thing for McFarlane and Critchley is that Davidson and Sedgwick fighting has slowed them down. That's allowed the front two to get a gap.
So 11.5 minutes to go. Can Sedgwick get back past Davidson? That's the question. There's an altitude car in there. That's Mark Hutchison, who's a lap down there, who's right in the mix of all of this. Ferrari there.
I think it will be sensible though, will Mark?
Yeah.
In all of this. Oh, Josh Boot off of Fertile. And Phil Samways, you don't need to ask him twice about taking advantage of all of that shenanigans. Boot hangs on ahead of Fertile, but Phil Samways jumps ahead of both of them here. Oh my goodness. And Josh Boot, don't forget, is your AM leader in this race and 16th place overall. It's incidents like that that has ended up costing him an opportunity of a championship fight, isn't it?
Yep, that's right. That's right. Strange. So just over 10 minutes to go. They click down. James Boumé, well, at the moment, all really he can hope for is a total reverse grid, but the chances of that are really quite slim. Back in 33rd position now, after that incident in race 1, which certainly ended his chances in the race and quite possibly his chances in the championship.
That's 42 points for 33rd for James Boumé right now.
That's a lot better than 0.
Yes, it certainly is. Meanwhile, Ross McFarlane in the lead, don't forget, got pole positions, that's 2 points. If he finishes where he is, that's 110 points for the win. So that's 112 points that Ross has got there. Jack Sedgwick in 4th place is on 95 points right now. So Sedgwick moves ahead of Boumé, as will Ross. But it's not over. That is not insurmountable in a championship finale. There could easily be an incident like we saw in this race to James Boumé happen to Sedgwick and McFarlane.
Yep, very true. Very, very true. It is not done until those... Oh, Josh Boots had a spin. Oh, no.
That's the AM lead gone.
He's in the lead of the AM class. Waits for a spot to get back onto the circuit. And then gets back going again.
Well, let's see. That's Phil Samways ahead of Josh Boot. They've actually gapped Arthur Fertile there, to be fair. And Josh's going for a move. Oh, and into the side of that car. Spins it around. That mid-engine car, once you reach a certain slip angle, Peter, it just goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was kind of a bit of a half-baked move there, really. It wasn't really on. You could tell it was kind of a last minute decision, and yeah, it didn't really come off very well at all. Well, can Jack Sedgwick, can he do anything about these 3 WSR Lamborghinis? They've quite a few circuits in the second half of the season. They've really had to watch the Ferraris drive off into the distance, but it seems like the Raging Bull is back with a vengeance here at Sebring, and at the most opportune time. And McFarlane on his way with 8 minutes to go to one of the most important victories of not just this season but his entire World GT career.
Certainly, as we carry on, and this fight, I've been keeping an eye on the timing screen of this fight. This is the fight for 18th place. You've got Corbellini, Rousseff, Guthrie and Cullen all together here. All four of them have been practically covered by less than a second at some points in these last couple of laps. As there goes Rousseff again in that BMW. BMW versus Mercedes, that's a heck of a test of grunts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's those front engine machines have certainly got plenty boogie, don't they? Oh dear. Oh,
that's both of them. Oh, and Guthrie's off as well. Will Guthrie's off at a standstill as well. So 3 went into that incident, and 3 end up in the wall.
Oh dear, and Corbellini's got big wheel damage on the rear right. Let's take a look then. They come out with Corbellini ahead then of the Racing Lab BMW. And then they're racing up the front straight here, side by side. Into turn 1 is a blind entry, very, very fast, and they go completely different lines, completely different. And they just sort of converge. Audi tries to come through, Boff gets caught up in it as well.
And out of all that, the driver left standing is Ben Cullen, who drives away, saying thank you very much, chaps. I'll take that. That will help James Boumé. Well, that moves him to 31st. So every little crumb is certainly just one little bit to try and sort of help your pro championship leader coming into this week. We've got 6 minutes of this opening race of the evening. Remember, stick around because one more race to come tonight with an inverted grid. What is that grid inversion? We don't know yet. We have to spin the wheel at the end of this race to discover who gets pole position. But at the moment, Ross McFarlane, I don't really mean it in a disrespectful way, but he was an outsider to a degree coming into this round of the championship, I feel. He wasn't the form driver, was he, Peter? He was very much on the back foot coming into this week.
Yeah, it definitely been put under significant heat in the second half of the season, and there were certain races where Ross was really at a complete loss to how the Ferraris were able to go so quick and do it with a fantastic fuel efficiency. And there just have been circuits where, like Bathurst and Monza particularly, where the Lamborghini's just not got the straight line speed to compete with that Ferrari. But on a circuit like Sebring, where it's about grip, it's about balance, it's about suspension damping, all kinds of things like that, all ahead of outright power. And yeah, the beautiful, sweet handling of this Lamborghini Huracan really coming to the fore for Ross McFarlane, and indeed his two teammates right behind him. Yeah,
I mean, the WSR drivers, the WSR Esports Butt Kicker drivers, I think this will be one that they'll be getting a Adam Hedgecock screenshot, Adam Hedgecock photograph of a 1, 2, 3 here, because they'll be delighted with that. And I know their team boss will be loving seeing their team at the front of the field at this penultimate round of the championship. But one more race to go. There's still a championship or few to decide, and it's not just, as we say, about those individual drivers' championships. It's the teams' championships that we've been keeping an eye on. And Denis Grabowski, I mentioned it earlier, he has really got a wriggle on through the field up to 9th place. That's 24 places gained. Him and Axel Sliptrovic, 6th and 9th places. They're the two best placed altitude esports cars. That's a bit of damage limitation going on there for them.
Yeah, just a bit. Well, heading into that final race of the season, who's going to come out on top? Is it going to be McFarlane? Is it going to be Sedgwick? It appears that it's going to be a big uphill battle for James Boumé, maybe too much to climb. Depends again where that spinny wheel lands. That's so crucial. If they get a full reverse, then he's right back in it, I would say, because that means then that McFarlane and Sedgwick have got to ascend almost the entire. Well, they've got to. Yeah, McFarlane would have to ascend the entire field. So a full reverse grid, really, that's what Boome and Altitude Esports will be really hoping for.
Yeah, they'll be praying to the gods of the spinny wheel. So they'll be hoping beyond hope. They're up to 30th now, is James Boome. So Corbellini, with him having to make a pit stop, that's allowed Boome to get up into the top 30 at least. I don't really see him making up any more positions now because he is a good 8 seconds behind the next car. But with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining, it's going to be tight as to whether we go an extra lap in this race. I think we just might be onto the white flag. Yeah, white flag's out. So we're on to one more lap of this round number 19 of the World GT Championship here on RaceSpotTV, live in 4K. I hope you're all enjoying the pictures and everything that's happening here in this race, because it's certainly been drama-filled so far in this one. Ethan Critchley then second place behind his teammate. I think if you're Ross McFarlane, you're saying to Ethan, just drop back a few tenths, will you, mate, just in case your brake pedal fails.
Yes, we don't want one of those calamities. They certainly don't have. They're not under pressure here at all. Are the two WSR Esports butt kicker, as Josh Boot has had to go back to the pit lane on the final lap here. Not sure what's happened. That would be another position for Boome though.
Through Gendebien and then into Le Mans Curve, and there's Jamie Rushworth, another recovering car. Was there just the slightest of touches? Was it just Boot getting a little bit unsettled through Le Mans Curve? Well, they'll have to digest that after race. But right now, at the front, McFarlane, Critchley and Davidson. 1, 2, 3 for WSR Esports. Jack Sedgwick has dropped back a bit here in this one, and he'll be kind of not happy with this if he finishes in 4th place. He'll have wanted to have put a bit more of a challenge to Ross McFarlane here in this opening race, but that does mean that with the reverse grid, that does mean that he starts ahead of Ross into that final race of the season. Through Sunset Bend they go for the final time in this one, and it's going to be round 19 of the World GT Championship. Race winner is Ross McFarlane for WSR Esports butt kicker. It's a 1, 2, 3 for the team. They're delighted, and Ross McFarlane is back in a shout of the championship. Till Sommerfeld, we've barely talked about him all race for German Sim Racing Am. He is your Pro-Am race winner here in this round number 19 of the season. And Giuseppe Moschella, Am Championship leader for the ADX Racing team, well, he has got himself a boot full of points here. Through the final corner he comes, 17th place overall, but crucially, an Am win for Giuseppe Moschella.
That's critical for his, for just sealing off his AM Championship there for Moschella. Great stuff, really strong performance, but talk about pulling it out of the bag at the most important moment of the season. Ross McFarlane on top of the podium in race 1 here puts himself right back in the hunt for this World GT Championship.
James Boome is going to be the last car across the line and is in 29th place. That, I can tell you, is 46 points for him. It's better than a big fat 0, that is for sure, and he'll be praying to those gods of the spinny wheel. I can tell you that the best drivers in terms of instant points in Pro, 0 instant points for Ethan Critchley and 0 instant points, crucially, for Jack Sedgwick. Now, the championship rules do state the best incident count per class gets 3 points towards the championship. That could be crucial for Jack.
That could be massive. Yeah, absolutely massive. In terms of, it's just so close. But let's see how things are going to work out with the spinny wheel here, Paul. So important where this lands.
Well, the worst result for James Boumet and Jack Sedgwick would be no reverse. Well, we've just gone past that now, but we're nowhere near the full reverse, which means the reverse grid draw for the final time this season is 15th here today, and we will take you through who it is that gets that position. It gets put onto pole position as we take you through the results here then of round number 19 of the World GT Championship Season 15, and it is Ross McFarlane with leading a WSR Esports book kicker 1, 2, 3 for them. That's first for Ross, second for Ethan Critchley, and third for Alex Davidson. Jack Sedgwick in fourth place wasn't able to compete with them to be able to fight for that those top positions. Till Sommerfeld for German Sim Racing Am is the top Porsche on the field, 5th place overall, and that's the best Pro-Am of the day so far today. So win in Pro-Am for Till, ahead of Axel Slijeptrovic and Michael Evdoka. Andy Archer for Atomic Esports is 2nd placed in Pro-Am, in 8th place ahead of Dennis Grabowski. Jack Osborne is the 3rd place Pro-Am on the field. Michael Gray then finishes next in 11th place ahead of Adam Watson, your Pro-Am Championship leader. Good points for Adam in this penultimate race of the season. Simon Lersing, 13th ahead of Raphael Schiffer. On pole position for race number 2 is Phil Samways for Full Tilt V Motorsport. He'll be looking for a good result here. The rest of the drivers will start where they finished. Arthur Fertel ahead of your Am winner, Giuseppe Maschella for the ADX Racing team. Ben Cullen in 18th ahead of Simon Andre Livingston, Racing Lab Esports. He's not out of this championship just yet, but it's going to be very difficult for him to beat Giuseppe after losing more points to him. Mattia Catania is 20th place. 21st and 3rd placed in Am is Craig Jones for the SCCR Sim Sports team, ahead of Kevin Stringer. Paul Webster, who got wiped out on lap number 1, he's down there in 23rd in the end. Good recovery drive from Paul. Nathan Healy ahead of Jamie Rushworth, who another one who got wiped out on lap 1. Ben Gregory, Stephen Koenig, Dwayne Hoffman, and coming into this round, Pro Championship leader James Boumet down in 29th. It's going to be pretty much an impossible task now for him to win the Pro Championship, but never say never. Andrea Colbellini, 30th place for him. Last few drivers on the grid was Mark Hutchison ahead of Josh Boots. Will Guthrie did not finish along with Eric Rousseff. Brian Balterson and Adam Tompkins did not finish, and Byron Crawford did not take the race start. So that is the results of this opening race of the evening. We've got one more race to come though here, Peter. Just another 45 minutes and a pit stop to decide who is going to be your various World GT champions.
It is really, really exciting, isn't it? Who's going to come out on top? You'd have to say that the pace-wise, Ross McFarlane and those 3 WSR Esports Lamborghinis look really, really strong. It doesn't look really like Sedgwick had the pace for them there. Of course, we know the reverse grid races are a completely different kettle of fish. Starting from 15th, as Ross McFarlane will do, got to make his way through the field on some pretty quick drivers, it must be said. So let's see, but in terms of pace underneath the car, you've got to think McFarlane's feeling good for this finale.
Yeah, you certainly do. I'm just having an eye on the virtual paddock just to see if there's much chatter, and there isn't. Jack Sedgwick saying it was pretty close to 45 minutes there. He was quite worried, so obviously running his fuel very, very close to it, and I think that's why you saw him drop back towards the end there, Peter. You called it. He had to underfuel in that pit stop to give him any hope of challenging those WSR Esports book kicker cars in the first race.
Yeah, that was his only play. Interestingly, there in our YouTube chat, Ethan Critchley saying the rule for the 0 incident points is the highest person in each class gets the bonus. So that would mean that Jack Sedgwick would get it, but I don't know.
I want to be a pedant here, The rule book doesn't say that.
There you go. Well,
The
if it
rule
doesn't say
book
it, it doesn't say
says
it.
3
Yeah.
points awarded to each driver in class with the fewest incidents in the race. It doesn't
That means
say
that
about
if
the
you-
highest place position.
Anybody on 0 then gets
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
In
okay.
theory, yeah.
Read your rule book, Ethan. Read your rule book.
I mean, that may be what the intention was, but I mean, Peter, we were talking before this broadcast about a race that we commentated on last year at Monza, and how that complex rulebook, we had to understand that. It was a bit of a head turner, was that. This one isn't quite as complex as a rulebook compared to that, and well, it shows you've really got to know the rules inside out as a competitor as well as a commentator.
You do. That's right. That's right. So, and again, those bonus points could well sway the outcome of this championship. You look at how tight, I mean, coming into this race, Boumé was only 2 points ahead of Sedgwick. McFarlane was only 17 points behind Sedgwick in third. So 3 bonus points is massive in the context we've come into.
Certainly is. We haven't had the points updated yet, probably because the series admins are realising that, that I've just mentioned that about the points there with the bonus points. But still, it's going to be absolutely neck and neck as to who takes the final race here. Not just in Pro, it's worth pointing out. Pro-Am, I mean, Adam Watson, he had a bit of a sketchy moment going side by side with a little bit of contact through turn number 1. I wouldn't have been doing that myself if I'm in his position. I would have been staying squeaky clean.
Yeah, I think, you don't want to be putting yourself in any compromising positions at all and putting any risk of getting a post-race penalty or anything like that, but got away with it just and no more. So one more race between Adam Watson and a Pro-Am championship, but I think all on balance would be a very much a deserved championship lead, and then after half a lap it was all in pieces. So it's going to be a big effort for him, but never say never.
Yeah, well, never say never. But like I say, I mean, I can actually see what's going on right now. So I mean, that's one thing at least here, Peter. So at least one of us has sight on the action here. And we are back on YouTube, so there we go. Thank you very much for your patience with us all. We do apologise for the technical issues, but that's the nature of live broadcasting, folks, with what we've got. And well, we have got a championship finale coming up here, and this is going to be a really intriguing one for us because it's really close at the front of the field. The points have been updated. Quickly to confirm this, Ross McFarlane, Jack Sedgwick are dead even on points going into this final race of the championship. James Boumé 48 points behind in his Altitude Esports car. So it's a tall order for James there to win the championship. Adam Watson leads by 85 points over Andy Archer and Paul Webster, with Giuseppe Moschella having a 57-point lead over Simon Andre Livingston. WSR Esports Buttkicker lead by 28 points in the Pro Teams Championship, and Atomic Esports lead by 29 points in the Pro-Am Teams Championship. So those two championships aren't over either. But my goodness, Peter, as we go to our grid, it is all square at the top of the standings. This is going to be great.
Can't wait. I cannot wait to see who comes out on top. You know, whoever comes out there will really truly deserve it.
Well, here we are then with the grid. We've got a full pace lap, so we can take our time with this. Phil Samways leading them off here, and it is alongside him Raphael Schiffer on the front row of the grid. Second row of the grid, Simon Lersing and Adam Watson, your Pro-Am Championship leader. Third row of the grid will be Michael Gray and Jack Osborne. Row number 4 then for Dennis Grabowski and Andy Archer, with row number 5 shared by Michael Evdoka and Axel Slijepcevic. Till Sommerfeld is alongside championship protagonist Jack Sedgwick. Alex Davidson and Ethan Critchley then on run number 7, with Ross McFarlane joint points leader on run number 8 alongside Arthur Thurtle. Then they're finishing at the starting where they finish, Giuseppe Moschella and Ben Cullen on run number 9. Row 10 for Simon Andre Livingston and Mattia Catania, with Craig Jones and Kevin Stringer then on run number 11. The 12th row is Paul Webster and Nathan Healy. Row number 13, Jamie Rushworth and Ben Gregory, with Stephen Koenig and Dwayne Hoffman on run number 14. James Boumet and Andrea Corbellini share the 15th row of the grid. Then Mark Hutchison and Josh Boot on run number 16. Will Guthrie and Adam Tompkins rounding out your 34-car grid. So series admin, Andy Shield, has been in touch with us here behind the scenes to say zero instant bonus applies to the highest driver by class. In the event of a tie, the highest position driver receives the bonus. That still isn't what the rules say though, but that is what the series administrators tell us, so that is what we've got to go by, Peter.
I guess so, yeah. So on to the pace lap now. Much darker conditions really than we saw in race 1. The sun coming down now here at a virtual Sebring, and that will make the track temperature quite a bit cooler, which will certainly help with the tyre life and the tyre performance. But once it starts, the sun comes down here at Sebring, there's a lot of points around the circuit where it's no Daytona. Definitely, it's not very well lit up compared to somewhere like Daytona. So let's see how the drivers get on with it. But definitely a cooler track temperature should be nice for driving conditions.
30.5 degrees, I can tell you, is the track temperature out there. So and that'll just get cooler into the evening for these drivers. So the Florida Panhandle track of this one. So we'll be getting ourselves set for the start of this one. Well, half a lap on the pace lap, and then Phil Samways will be heading us away for green flag action. I can't remember if Phil Samways has ever had a reverse grid pole position before.
Not sure. I don't think he's definitely not had a reverse grid win anyway. So yeah, he's starting in exactly the right position. So yeah, a new experience there for him.
Certainly is. So we'll see how we get on. At least we won't have any shop dummies falling onto the track here today. We'll be keeping that track nice and clear for these drivers. Well, unless there happens to be an incident and somebody ends up across the track, but there we go. So, it's Phil Samways, Raphael Schiffer. Schiffer could be in for a good shout of a race win here for him, but Dennis Grabowski, with the way he came through that field in race number 1, he could be one to try and get a race win for his Atomic Esports team. Round the final corner they go at Sunset Bend, and we are all set for the season finale. Round number 20 of the World GT Championship goes green flag racing here at Sebring International Raceway. Across the line they go to start the race. 45 minutes of action, and down the inside, Dennis Grabowski, an aggressive move, and contact, it's happened there straight away. Grabowski into Simon Lursing. Everybody else working their way through turn number 1.
Oh dear, that got very messy, didn't it, there, with Grabowski just trying to make his way through, but yeah, it just nearly triggered a big pile up there. So through they go, through that really tricky turn 3, 4, 5 complex, and then through turn 6 on the rush down towards the hairpin, trying to keep out of trouble. Not easy on these opening laps. There's a bit of bodywork there. I think that's one of the full tilt Audi's bodywork off to the side of the track there.
Ross McFarlane has lost 2 places at the start of this race, so he's down to 17th place. Jack Sedgwick is up 2 places to 10th. If Ross McFarlane wants to win this championship, he needs Ethan Critchley to provide the best support possible and to try and get ahead of Sedgwick and to hold him up. That's easier said than done. that is for sure. But Phil Samways leads ahead of Raphael Schiffer. Adam Watson actually has just moved up ahead of Raphael Schiffer, so up to second place for the Pro-Am Championship leader. He doesn't need to make these moves, but it's certainly helping Adam in his championship charge.
It is, yeah. Adam Watson in a really good spot, 85 points to the good after that first race, so he's really pretty much home and dry. Headlights on in full now here at Sebring as we head through onto the Ullman straight then. Great start from Alex Davidson up into 7th place. He's really made some moves early on. Cedric also up a few places, so at the moment Cedric ahead of McFarlane by 6 positions.
And that is big. The altitude, the full tilt car that we saw with damage and with bodywork is Michael Gray. There he is, just going through the front of shot. He's dropping down the order. He's had issues. Issues in the background of shot there, I think, for Adam Tompkins. So it's been a day to forget for the German sim racing driver. Phil Samways and Adam Watson are changing positions for the lead. In fact, there it is. Watson to the head of the field in his Altitude Esports blue Porsche, ahead of Phil Samways now in his full tilt V sim racing car. V Sim Sport, should I say, sorry. Raphael Schiffer's trying to follow Adam Watson through here, and Samways not giving him the space.
No, Samways not having any of it. It's Watson now on the march through into the lead by 0.4 of a second. Looking very, very, very strong right now. Could this be an overall win for Watson to close off his championship? That would be quite impressive, but he will have to hold off the Pro Class car, the fellow Porsche of Raphael Schiffer.
As they go through then, through the left-hander at Bishop, heading towards Gendebian. This right-left section, very easy to get wrong, by the way, is this, I can tell you from bitter experience. Through the right-hander at Le Mans, and then onto the Ullman straight once again. And well, drama early on in this race for Denis Grabowski, and I think that might catch the ire of the race stewards post-event. Remember, stewards' decisions are made post-event here in this series, so championship results will be provisional. You'll have to keep abreast of the World Sim Racing social media for any final classifications of the championships here. We'll call it as we see it across the line, but yeah, keep abreast of their social medias for all of that information. But right now, Adam Watson has got a slender lead over Raphael Schiffer. Phil Samways appears to be just a little bit of a cork in the bottle right now.
Seems that way, yeah, and I tell you what, Alex Davidson's really on the move. He's now up into 6th position. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He's right on the back of his teammate Michael Evdoka. So really moving forward. McFarlane has now moved 2 places ahead. He's moved up into 14th. Cedric, though, up to 9th. So Cedric versus McFarlane, of course, remember they came into here absolutely level on points. So whoever finishes ahead, effectively, wins the day, with the exception, who's that off? Critchley's off the road.
Now Critchley was behind Jack Sedgwick. Has there been a coming together between Sedgwick and Critchley through all of this? Please don't say there's going to be a championships decided in the stewards room. Myself and Conor Imadic, our producer, know that all too well. So it was Sedgwick had got ahead of Thurtle. Critchley makes a move. Thurtle's been very, very aggressive on the defensive there, and it's just that side-to-side contact that we saw with the Lamborghini earlier on, isn't it?
Yeah, and the question is, was a car's width given here? At the moment, you can completely cover it, but now that the move's happening, you've got to give a car's width.
I think there was.
I would say there was, and I don't think Critchley was ever making that corner.
It was just a car's width, not much more. Josh
it doesn't
Ben
need to be
Gregory
anymore, but there was no way he was making that corner at the apex. Not a chance.
As Critchley then makes a recovery of this, he's down in 27th right now in this race. It's been quite a an intriguing opening to the race. Alex Davidson's just moved ahead of Michael Evdoka, so that is a change of position between not teammates but competitors out the same awning, as Raphael Schiffer to the head of the standings right now. He finds himself in the lead ahead of Adam Watson, who didn't fight that one at all.
So Schiffer then up to Porsche on Porsche. Schiffer ahead of Watson now, but that's okay for Adam Watson. Schiffer is not in his class, so doesn't need to worry too much about it. He's still the leading Pro-Am car and still in a very good groove. So Cedric now battling away with Till Sommerfeld. Does he get by for 8th position? Yes, he does. He's now got the fastest lap of the race as well. Of course, bonus points for that too.
Yes, 2 bonus points for fastest lap of the race. It's worth pointing out Ross McFarlane now has started moving through the field. He's up 3 places from where he started, up to 12th place. That's the last thing he would have wanted, though, at the start of this race, to be dropping places right at the very beginning of this race.
Oh no, well, we've seen the double delight, the double victories for Josh Boot at certain race meetings, but today it seems to be a double disaster, another problem. Same as he had in race 1, he had a couple of offs. Looks like it's going to be the same again, and who is that he gets in? That must be Critchley back there, or Rushworth.
Yeah, but Critchley. Oh my goodness, that's ambitious.
It was Critchley.
But it was Boot into the side of Nathan Healy. It was certainly an ambitious move, I think, was what I was thinking there, going into that was into Cunningham, wasn't it? That right-hander. Well, across the line, Raphael Schiffer ahead of Watson and Samways. Phil Samways, to be fair to him, has gapped out a little bit above Slipčević and Davidson, because those two are fighting tooth and nail right now for 4th place. Both of them fighting for honour and for championship points for their respective teams, because don't forget, it's WSR Esports butt kicker versus Altitude Esports. Alex Davidson is one of those drivers, and the driver in 4th place, Axel Slipčević, is another one.
And the team championship very, very tight, isn't it? Because you're just 8 points now. The WSR team lead ahead of Altitude coming into this race. It was Altitude who had a 22-point advantage coming into this race meeting, so they turned it around, of course, with that 1-2-3, did WSR Esports. So who's going to come out on top here? Altitude. The Drivers' Championship might well be slipping through their fingers at the last moment, but the Team Championship still up for grabs.
As they're coming through, and this is still a hard-fought race between these two. Neither of them want to give an inch, because they know just how important every single point matters here in this race for their teams respectively. Oh, Davidson's got a great run out of Tower, heading towards Glen de Bienne, and through he goes. Can he hold on to the place? The answer is yes.
Slipčević, yeah, not really got much of an answer there. Davidson's been very, very quick today, and he's ascended through this reverse grid very, very quickly. And now Evdoka's going to have a go as they head up the hill towards the final corner. And Evdoka decides to just hold off for now. But there's Cedric now right in this battle, and Cedric, this is really perilous. Got to be careful now with a couple of WSR Esports Lamborghinis in there, not to get too flustered and too held up. We might well even see an early pit stop from Cedric here if he does get held up too long.
McFarlane's got ahead of Thurtle. Yes, he has. Around the outside of turn 1, although Thurtle will fight that one back, but can't hold on. So McFarlane, the 4-time champion, don't forget, under the old Pure Sims colours. He won those championships, and well, he is going to be, I think actually there was a season under CQR colours as well, if I remember. It might not be, I can't remember, but it's been a while, and he's certainly won a number of championships. Sommerfeld making moves on Osborne, so Osborne's now just dropping down a little bit, is Jack behind. McFarlane, though, has got quite a tough prospect to try and overtake next. Dennis Grabowski, that is not going to be easy.
No, I think Grabowski is going to do everything. Well, this thing is that for Grabowski, it's about scoring the ultimate points for the team championship. Now, as you said, there is still a mathematical chance of Boumet winning, but that crash was so costly in race 1. So, yeah, for him now, for Grabowski, it's really holding McFarlane back, not necessarily to help a teammate for the Drivers' Championship, mainly to try and score the ultimate maximum points for the team championship.
Wow. Me and Peter are going to be kept on our toes throughout this race here. In this one, this is certainly going to be a thrill ride, and we're glad to have you along with us as well for this one, the championship finale here at Sebring, as Catania's had an incident out there. He's dropping down the order. Phil Samway's losing the place to Alex Davidson in Sunset Bend, so that's extra points for WSR Esports butt kicker.
Yeah, they're looking good at the moment, our WSR Esports butt kicker, to win that team championship, to overhaul Altitude at the last round. It's going well as far as that's concerned. In the Drivers' Championship, well, Cedric still got that in his pocket at the moment in 7th, whereas McFarlane is back in 11th right now, but plenty to shake out. The question is, when does Cedric come down the pit lane? Is he going to get held up here behind Michael Evdoka? I wonder.
What if you're Michael Evdoka? Because remember, Michael Evdoka technically is not in the same team as Davidson, McFarlane and Critchley. They run out the same morning, so practically they are the same team. What do you do if you're Evdoka? Well, they are the same team. Yeah.
Oh yes.
What do you do if you're Evdoka here, Peter? Are you deliberately holding up Jack Cedric to try and bring McFarlane in?
Yes, of course you are. You wouldn't be being your teammate otherwise. No, you go defensive. You don't do anything dirty, of course, but you'd be as defensive as possible, and you hold Cedric at bay as long as you possibly can, and you sacrifice your own forward progress for that. That's the reason why having multiple quick drivers, having multiple people up there supporting is so important to win this championship. To win it as a privateer is so tough, and Cedric is effectively running as a privateer. Of course, Anderuti last year won it as a privateer, so it is possible, but it's certainly a lot more challenging.
Certainly is. McFarlane's
2 seasons ago for Anderuti, excuse me.
Yes, it was, yes. McFarlane's caught up to the back of Grabowski now. So that's going to be an intriguing one as to how that goes out, because Grabowski, of course, former World Championship driver, has that experience, has that speed. He was a championship contender, an outsider coming into this week of the championship, but right now is looking to the inside. And Evdoka's moving forward, or trying to at least, but gets the door slammed shut, and that's the opportunity Cedric needed to get alongside, but I don't think he's going to hold on to the place, is he? Yes! Yes, he does!
Wow, and he had to take his opportunity there, did Cedric, and he took it with both hands, so he moves up ahead then of Evdoka critically, but is Evdoka going to try and fight back? No, can't that time. That was a critical opportunity there at the hairpin, but couldn't do it, as McFarlane's in his own battle with Grabowski, who's being, well, he's putting up a stiff defence as well. This is where it's going to get a little bit spicy, I think.
Well, you say that. McFarlane's all over. He's trying to get in the mirrors of Grabowski, isn't he? He's trying to put him off here, but Dennis, he won the Pro-Am Championship last season. He's been a Pro Championship contender this season. He's shown that, just like James Boumet last season, that Grabowski's been able to make that step up.
Yeah, it's impressive, isn't it? And just shows you the atmosphere they've got there in the team at Altitude Esports. They really do seem to bring them each other on and compete at the top level, moving up. Of course, as you say, Boumet Pro-Am champion to Pro champion, and Grabowski, well, Pro-Am champion to Pro Class front runner. But what can Cedric do now? He's got the positions in hand that he needs to McFarlane to win this championship right now, but there's still so much racing to go, and you've still got to get in, get that pit stop done. Don't get popped for speeding, because it's all over if you do that. We've seen that affect several drivers so far this season, so you've got to get in, get that pit stop done at just the right time and go.
Boomer's onto pit road. This is the earliest that you can make that pit stop, I feel, and I think he's just playing the game and getting to some clean air and just put lap after lap and taking tyres as well. That's a surprise.
Well, throw the dice at it. Nothing to lose really for James Boumé. Still 31 degrees Celsius track temperature, even in this kind of early evening, so the track is still pretty warm. Not quite the 41 we saw in qualifying, but yeah, still up the cozier side.
And could fresh tyres actually make a difference, even if it is 2 tyres? 13 seconds is a stop. With these warmer conditions, it's very easy to overheat these tyres, and it's then got to get them back down again.
Yeah, it's worth a try for James Boumé, but as things look right now, with 27 minutes to go, that World GT Championship was slipping out of his fingers. He'd had such strong performances in this second half of the season, and just looks to have come a cropper at the final round. I mean, I think you could debate all day long, all year long, on who was at fault in that accident, but the end result really is all that matters, and that was Boumé out of the running, and all that work up in smoke.
Certainly is, as well, Cedric now needs to look forward. He's got Phil Samways and Axel Slijepcevic. Samways running very deep through Sunset Bend. He's lost one place, he's about to lose another here, is Phil. Axel's trying to give Phil Samways a little bit of a slipstream there down towards turn number 1, because Slijepcevic wants people between him and Cedric, but Cedric makes it through.
Yeah, Cedric got the move done as well, and here comes Evdoka then on Samways. Samways is, I think, playing it smart, just saying, on you go guys. Meanwhile, this is your battle for the race. For second position, Adam Watson trying to hold off Alex Davidson. Now, remember, Adam Watson is running for Altitude Esports, not in the same registered team, of course, as far as points are concerned, but he is, of course, running out the same group, the Altitude Esports group. So I don't think he's going to make it very easy for Alex Davidson to get by. I have been wrong before.
The difference for Adam Watson, though, he's got a championship to lose here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's got to play it very canny as Adam here. I just don't.
Oh, who's that? It's WSR around.
It was McFarlane. McFarlane's around, your championship contender, around, facing the wrong way. That's down to 17th, down to 18th, down to 19th place right now for Ross McFarlane. It goes from bad to worse for him. He was 11th. What on earth happened down at Cunningham?
Oh, well, he's in a battle here with Denis Grabowski. So Grabowski on the inside there, they come in, and he just gets too late on the brakes and runs into the back of one of the Atom Lamborghinis. Purely his own mistake there.
Yeah, into the back of Jack Osborne, and he had to be patient, had to wait for them to go through. Oh my goodness, that's a big turning point here in the championship, because now that puts the ball very much in the court of Jack Sedgwick.
Well, Sedgwick, I'm sure he'll have someone on the radio saying McFarlane's lost 15 positions, or 10 positions at least, as Davidson goes to the front. And again, Watson, does he fight it that hard? No, he's oh, does he? You never know. You just never quite know what Adam's going to do sometimes. So, but he has to give best to Alex Davidson, who's in really strong form. Now, what we might see here in the circumstances, we might see Alex Davidson back the pack up, because for McFarlane, he needs a favour right now, big time. And because if Davidson runs his pace, Sedgwick can just sit in this train and drive to the championship. Davidson needs to back the pack up, and looking at the train forming up behind him, I think that's begun already.
If you're Adam Watson, I'm thinking right now, let Axel Sliptrovic through, because they're involved in a fight with Alex Davidson for a team's championship. That's not Watson's fight. And I'd make that as easy as possible for my compatriot from Altitude Esports. To be honest, if I'm Adam Watson, I don't mind if I drop to the back of this little queue of cars here and go to the back of Till Sommerfeld.
Well, that's the thing, is if he goes to let Sliptrovic through, that's probably where he'll end up, because he'll just get freight trained. He might well just have to hold station here for a couple of laps until the pit stops. Maybe take a little bit more fuel in the pit stop to make sure he's safe and gets to the end safe, because we heard Cedric, of course, if we'd been a couple of seconds later going over the line, he would have had to do one more lap and he might have been in big trouble. So I think for Watson, he might just have to hold station here for a couple of laps.
It's very difficult for him right now. I mean, for me, if Adam Watson, I'm thinking big picture, help the team out, but also I'm keeping myself out of a little bit of trouble there. My nearest competitor in the championship, Andy Archer, as oh dear, that's so that's two cars towards the back of the field. That's Corbellini and Stringer, who are off at Le Mans corner. Oh, this is going to be Corbellini in the Mercedes coming up behind Stringer. Stringer's got a bit twitchy through there. There's a move to the inside, and they've just converged lines into each other.
Easily done in that part of the circuit, and you're just switching back forth all the time. So we do have a bit of a train forming here, and yeah, well, just as I said, the pack was backing up, but Davidson's gone. He's not mucking about with that. He's in second position. Schiffer's 5.7 seconds up the road, of course, don't forget. But I think Davidson's not wanting to engage in any kind of games at all. He's gone. So actually the pack are now queued up behind Pro-Am leader Adam Watson.
Well, Adam Watson's nearest contender in the championship is Andy Archer. He's in 26th, but he has taken a pit stop. His next nearest rival in the championship is Paul Webster, who's 13th at the moment. So even if Adam dropped to the back of this little quintet of cars, he's still beating his championship rivals. And you can kind of control things a little bit more when you're behind people, can't you?
Yeah, you're right. He's do you know what though? He looks comfortable where he is. He doesn't look necessarily out of place at all. So maybe even, I think even you just pit a little bit earlier. Just come into the pits that little bit earlier. Come in, take your fuel, and get back to it again. And I think maybe naturally you will filter out behind these snarling. There you go.
The team's heard you there.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think that's a very smart move from a team perspective. It gets Axel Sliptrovic into third. That's good points for the team in the team's championship. It gets Watson out of any potential trouble as well.
Exactly so. Yeah, exactly so. I think a real good call.
Webster pits at the same time as well, so one of his championship rivals is pitted at the same time. So it's all worked out for Adam there on that one so far.
It has. It's no, very good indeed. So Davidson now making a bit of a breakaway. Sliptrovic there in third with Cedric right on his tail.
I want to give an update. Adam Watson's just come out of pit road, and about 4 seconds behind him, and it was a greater gap than that when he pitted, is James Boumé. James Boumé has been setting lap after lap and putting in some really good fast pace here. And you can see there's Adam Watson just going through the front of shot, and there is James Boumé. Fair credit to him. He's doing everything that he can to just score what he can score.
Yeah, do what you can do, and you just never ever know what happens. It's happened before, you know, where you think someone's got the championship in the bag and it all goes wrong. You know, look at, I think one of the most, well, the toughest examples to watch is what happened to Dan Camish in the British Touring Cars 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh my goodness!
Brake failure on the last lap, had the championship in the bag, and that was it. And yeah, nothing he could have done about it really. So yeah, it's motorsport can be very, very cruel sometimes. We look at Felipe Massa, 2008.
Yeah,
he was F1 champion until Timo Glock suddenly ground to a halt coming out the final corner.
Yeah, it's motorsport. I mean, the biggest sort of cruel thing for me in motorsport isn't for a race winner was the Nissan Delta Wing and the heartbreak of the footage of the driver trying to fix the car at the side of the track, desperately trying to get it so he could get it back to the pit so they could fix it properly in the garage and just could not fix it. I think that's one of the most heartbreaking pieces of footage that's out there on YouTube.
Yeah, it's and you look at some of the finishes of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, where yes, it's not a championship, but it is that much excitement packed into one day. And well, yeah, the Toyota probably the toughest example.
Shockingly, Ryan Walker has mentioned the Toyota.
yeah. We definitely share a brain cell to Ryan and I.
Michael Gray's had issues out there. I can see a yellow flag from out of turn 1 into turn 2. So the full tilt V Motorsport driver, who was 4th place in the Pro-Am Championship coming into this final race, he's dropped down the order, so not being a good final for him. But right now, Michael Avdoka still there with Jack Sedgwick, still keeping the pressure up, and this is all that Avdoka can do to try and help Ross McFarlane in his championship charge.
That's right. That's all that is left to do. There's 17 minutes to go. Should see pit stop fairly soon, I would wager. They come around Sunset.
Him. So Sunset Bend, you're absolutely right, Peter. We've got a pit party onto pit road, and everybody's on. So we rub our hands with delight. This is where we're going to see, is anybody going to risk it and under fuel like Jack Sedgwick did in the first race here?
I think if you're Sedgwick, you're not going to risk that. No way. With that advantage that you've got now. Who's that going up for tyres? Quite a lot of them going up for tyres. Ooh, that's very interesting, because very few of them took tyres in race 1.
Yeah, as away we go. So Rafael Schiffer comes out in the lead of this race. Absolutely neck and neck with Jack Sedgwick and Axel Slijepčević off of pit road. Alex Davidson's up the road from them. And they've got to be careful. If any of them have taken tyres, they've got to be careful until they get those tyres up to temperature and pressure. I think crucially for Jack Sedgwick there is he's got away from Michael Avdoka. Where is Avdoka? He's 8th.
3 seconds further back, yeah, so not so quick there for Avdoka, but and that, of course, that figured that out. You look at where Watson was; he was in 3rd, he's now in 7th. So actually, that stop, he's kind of out of the flow then of the front runners. And yeah, James Boumé, after pit stops are complete, 9th, just having started in 30th. That's a gritty performance. I think, regardless of how this championship ends up, that is gritty, seriously gritty.
Yeah, and it shows a certain level of mental toughness as well. To have the absolute heartbreak and gut wrench of what happened in that first race, on the lap 1 of the first race as well, to come back and to be like, well, I'm just going to give it absolutely everything in this last race. I think that shows a certain level of mental toughness that some sim racers struggle with. I know some sim racers, something like that happens to them, that's it, they throw the hat in they throw the hat off, I'm done.
Yeah, very true. Interestingly there, Arthur Turtle holding Ross McFarlane at bay, and McFarlane, he's going to be playing that corner over in his head over and over again, I think. As Skrbowski went to the inside, defended the line perfectly cleanly, and just got a little bit too deep on the brakes, couldn't get it slowed down in time, bang into the back of one of the Atom Lamborghinis, and round he went, and that was that. As Thurgle has a bit of a wiggle there, and McFarlane gets a good run out of Sunset as they rush down towards turn 1 now. And is McFarlane close enough to get the move done? He's late on the brakes there. Great move. Can he make it stick on the exit though? You can converge back again. They're side by side as they head down towards Christensen corner then. And finally McFarlane gets the move done. Oh dear, nearly gets clipped again by the Altitude Ferrari, but through he goes and up to 15th.
Yeah, 15th for McFarlane, 16th for Fertel. In terms of the Altitude Esports drivers, 4th and 9th for their two best drivers in this race, compared to 2nd and 15th. Ross McFarlane is the second best WSR Esports book kicker driver. So Davidson is struggling to keep up with Raphael Schiffer. It's still 5.5 seconds between him and the race leader Schiffer right now. So after the pit stops, 12 minutes and 42 seconds remain. Raphael Schiffer leads ahead of Alex Davidson, and then it's Jack Sedgwick, 3rd place here with the fastest lap of the race as well. That's crucial for him for championship points. He's currently in the box seat in terms of the Pro Championship. Axel Slitrovic 4th, ahead of Till Sommerfeld, who's the best Pro-Am again. Till, he finished 5th in race number 1. He could be on for another 5th place finish here in race number 2. The next best Pro-Am driver is Adam Watson in 7th, with Phil Samways, who started this race in pole position, in 10th place. Your best Am is Giuseppe Moschella in 19th, ahead of Craig Jones in 21st, and Simon Andre Livingston in 23rd. So that's how things stand. So as things stand right now, provisionally, Jack Sedgwick, Adam Watson and Giuseppe Moschella are your 3 champions here. Well, they'll be, I'm sure these will be the longest 12 minutes of their season for those drivers in question, trying to just close the job off. And if Jack Sedgwick can close it off, I just still can't believe that this is us talking about a potential first World GT Championship for Jack Sedgwick. He's been a great supporter of the championship, competed in it for several seasons, he's been a front runner, he's won countless races in the championship, but yet that title has eluded him, and if he stays where he is for the next 11 minutes, he will finally tick that box. As they go through into the right-hander then at Cunningham through Collier, time ticking down, a beautiful red sky. Oh, it's a shepherd's delight then, Peter, for us here in Florida. Not too many shepherds, I don't think, in Florida though. Not unless you're a croc wrangler. Yeah, it's maybe a little bit humid for sheep. Yeah, definitely more crocodiles to worry about in this part of the world. It's very swampy in Florida. Yeah, certainly. It's a good job I've never been to Florida, because I don't think I would last 2 minutes there as a slightly overweight Yorkshireman. Well, it's an interesting place. You know, you go in, say if you go in January around the time of Daytona, you can either get it's quite warm and fairly sticky, or really dry and cold. It's at that time of year. In the summer, it's almost unbearable. But yes, I'm with you. We're only made for certain climes, aren't we? Up north. As Dennis Grabowski actually made a move on Till Sommerfeld into Sunset Bend, so Grabowski's moved up. So that's, in fact, it's Grabowski and Slitrovic then for Altitude Esports, scoring points for their team's championship here, with James Boumet in 9th place overall down the order there. Yeah, you look at those drives here at the front of the field. Alex Davidson's gained 11 places, Jack Sedgwick up 9, James Boumet up 20 places. Paul Webster, I mean, he's not given up. Fair credit to him as well. After heartbreaking race number 1, he's gained 11 places in this race. Jamie Rushworth up 12. Will Guthrie up 19 places in 14th place. Really good run through the field for him as well. The big losers, someone like Ben Cullen, Michael Gray, Simon Lersing as well. Andy Archer is another one who will be spitting feathers at how this race has gone here today. Ross McFarlane, by the way, back to where he started, and Ethan Critchley is right behind him. So Critchley's had a bit of a comeback drive after his spin at the hairpin.
James Boumé, after starting in 30th up to 9th, the next driver ahead of him, Michael Evdoka. Of course,
there's no history between those two at all, is there?
No, this will be interesting to see how they race with one another. And Adam Watson, throw him in there for a little bit, just chuck a couple of Scotch bonnet chilies into the mix.
I genuinely think that Watson, he won't do anything because he can't risk losing the championship. He's been runner-up so many times in the Pro-Ams. I think even if he got the call from Mark Fletcher, team boss of Altitude Esports, to hold up and let Boumé come through, I think Adam would be there going, yeah, but I don't want to get any stewards penalties. I'd rather keep a Pro-Am championship, thanks.
Yeah, I think, and obviously he'll be aware of what happened in race 1. So yeah, he won't want to get bring in any chance of risk whatsoever. And in a strange way, neither will Boumé, because he's still hanging on to the kind of thread that if something happened to Cedric, he would then we'd have to get the calculators out, because he's 6 positions ahead of McFarlane, and then it all gets a bit complex. But so yeah, Boumé he's still trying to win this championship, however slim the chances may be, and getting into a silly incident with someone is obviously going to negate those chances.
For the final time this season, we'll mention the Paul Smith Silver Salver for the best 5-lap average, as Boumé tried to move around the outside, but that wasn't forthcoming with Michael Evdoka there. The best driver at the moment, 5-lap average, is Raphael Schiffer in the lead of the race. 2 minutes .792 is the average 5-lap average. Alex Davidson in second place, 2 minute 1.314. Cedric actually is running about half a tenth quicker per lap the last 5 laps.
He
has been gaining Davidson as well.
We need to get the NFT Silver Salver for next season.
Yeah, but I would have to actually pay attention to it and keep a track of everything.
You're always paying attention to it, Paul. Always.
But it's also a case of on what 5-lap average do you go by?
Ah, good point. Yeah, you just have to keep. Yeah, you have to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, you see, it's a bit too much administration for me.
Yeah, true.
As through turn 1 they go, so you've got Cedric ahead of Slipkovic, and Dennis Grabowski until Sommerfeld here in this little quartet. Cedric, like I say, he has been ever so slightly gaining on Alex Davidson in front, but it's not going to be enough to be challenging Alex Davidson by the end of this race. With 5 minutes and 15 seconds remaining, it's a case of Cedric just needs to, 1, keep out of trouble, and 2, just get that car to the end ahead of Ross McFarlane.
So Ross McFarlane, he'll be ruining that mistake, because albeit though he was behind Cedric at that point, and Cedric has driven a pretty perfect race, having started from just outside the top 12 and he's up onto the podium, and running a really strong race. Fastest lap of the race, of course, as well for Cedric, 2 flat .287. That's not far off. It's about 3/10 off Ross McFarlane's qualifying time, so that's really strong.
Jamie Rushworth has just had issue out there and has dropped down outside of the top 17. Just saw his driver name dropping down our timing tower on the left hand side of the screen. So that moves McFarlane up another position. Yeah, and then Critchley as well for Fertile. So yeah, Rushworth has dropped down to 18th now with that error. With just under 4 minutes remaining in the season here, and it has been well, I mean, where do we start? Where do we sum up this season, Peter? It's been certainly the closest season that I can ever remember commentating on in this championship, even back to the days of myself and Chaz Draker commentating on this series, and it's just delivered out almost everything this season, hasn't it, Peter?
It has. To come into the last race meeting with 3 drivers capable of winning the championship, and to go into the final race with 2 joint on the same number of points, effectively setting up a last race shootout, doesn't get a great deal better than that. Does not get a great deal better than that. I mean, as always in the Pro-Am and Am, many drivers get their turn at the top of the result sheet, and yeah, it's going to be fantastic to see who comes back for the next season, and of course we may well see changeable weather in the next season, a new era potentially of the World GT Championship in the future.
I think if changeable weather does come in next season, it will be a whole new ball game, and it will just change the dynamic entirely. Ethan Critchley, try as he may, cannot get ahead of Will Guthrie. Will, who joined the series partway through the season, is always one that will push hard and fight for a position. He's not fighting for a championship here as Will, so he's just wanting to get the best result that he can. And he's no respecter of egos either, as well.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And he's not going to roll over for Ethan Critchley, that's for sure. Critchley, that mistake at the hairpin costing him pretty dearly, going back to 15th. And tell you what, championship, team championship wise, it's going to be mighty close.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have to wait until the series admins get very quick on the old keyboards and get everything into the points, so we can give you up-to-date provisional championships. What we can say at the moment, with 1:30 remaining in this race, Ethan Critchley is still fighting for 14th place over Will Guthrie. It's the Full Tilt V Motorsport driver versus the WSR Esports Butt Kicker driver. Audi versus Lamborghini. 2 cars from the same Audi group, but of course slightly different. I say slightly different. They've got the same engine, but other than that, those cars very, very different between each other.
Yeah, the engine's really the only thing that's similar. They are completely independently designed machines, and don't they sound fantastic? That big V10 motor. One man we don't mention that much is Raphael Schiffer. He's been absolutely superb at the front of the field. A perfect race, and 5.8 seconds up the road. A great way to finish off his World GT Championship season.
And this should be the last lap of the race as well. What a way for Raphael Schiffer from German Sim Racing Pro, the German driver, at the front of the field. He started on the front row of the grid. The spin of the wheel helped him in that, and he's going to come into Sunset Bend in first place for the final time this season, rounding the final corner. And Raphael Schiffer from German Sim Racing Pro is a race winner here in the World GT Championship. We look back though to Jack Sedgwick, who provisionally will be your World GT Pro Champion here today at Sebring. Adam Watson is provisionally your Pro-Am Champion as well, as he crosses the line for Altitude Esports Blue. And then we've got to look back to 19th place, because Giuseppe Maschella has just got to round this final corner, and he will find himself for ADEX Racing Team in the Porsche. He'll find himself an AM champion. Flash of the headlights. He's delighted, and why wouldn't he be?
3 deserving champions there, it must be said. You look at the charge that Jack Sedgwick put together. He was well over 100 points behind going into that second half of the season, and he ascended a challenge and comes out on top. What a day for someone who's kind of been there and done it in sim racing, and he is the champion.
Ross McFarlane coming along to acknowledge Jack Sedgwick on his effort. He has had so many seasons of promise here in this championship as Jack, and finally it's paid off for him. Finally he could call himself a champion, and why wouldn't you do donuts? Celebrate in style, why not? Last driver coming across the line is Josh Boot to finish off our results here. Wow, what a season it has been here in the World GT Championship. Let's take you through your provisional race results then from the final round of the World GT Championship, round number 20 of season 15. Raphael Schiffer is your race winner. There is no doubt about that. 6 seconds in the end he beat Alex Davidson for the German Sim Racing Pro driver. WSR Esport book kicker Alex Davidson second place. Jack Sedgwick third place. Did exactly what he needed to do for NX Racing, and his Ferrari gets himself a championship crown. Axel Sliptrovic in fourth then, ahead of Dennis Grabowski. Till Sommerfeld, he got a fifth place in race number 1. He's got a sixth place in race number 2. It's been a good day at the office for German Sim Racing and their AM team. Adam Watson, 7th place, 2nd place in Pro-Am. He is your Pro-Am champion, and what a result it is for him. Hard work for him to get that done in the end. Michael Avdoka ahead of James Boumet, and then Phil Samways rounds off your Pro-Am podium after starting in pole position, finishes in 10th place. Jack Osborne 11th ahead of Paul Webster. Ross McFarlane got involved in an incident early on in the race with Jack Osborne. He spins around, he recovers the car back to 13th place. Will Guthrie then ahead of Ethan Critchley with Arthur Thurtle, Andy Archer and Jamie Rushworth. And then in 19th place for ADX Racing Team, Giuseppe Mascella wins the AM race for the second time tonight and gets himself an AM championship for the ADX Racing Team. Mark Hutchinson rounds out the top 20. 21st for Mattia Catania ahead of Craig Jones for the SCCR SimSport team. Gets second place in AM in this race ahead of championship contender Simon Andre Livingston for Racing Lab Esports. He can be proud of that championship fight that he put up. Finishes third place in class, 23rd overall. Ben Gregory ahead of Simon Lersing with Stephen Koenig, Andrea Corbellini, Nathan Healy, Dwayne Hoffman and Josh Boot finishing down in 30th after an event-filled day. And then the final few drivers, just 4 other drivers, then Kevin Stringer 1 lap down, and then drivers who did not finish. Michael Gray, Ben Cullen and Adam Tompkins. Well, we wait for final confirmation of all of our standings and everything. In fact, I think it has just been updated right now for us. Jack Sedgwick, 27 points in the lead in the end over Ross McFarlane, with James Boumet in third place. It is a hard-fought defence of his title for James, but well-deserved fight, and still got himself into the top 3. You can be delighted with that. Adam Watson, 98 points clear of Paul Webster in second place for Full Tilt v Sim Motorsport, with Andy Archer then 106 points off the championship leader in third place. Giuseppe Mascella, 63 points in the end, leading the AM championship over Simon Andre Livingston, with Craig Jones rounding out the top 3, and I think that actually did just sneak Craig into that top 3 at the end of that race. Teams, my goodness, it was close. 9 points separate WSR Esport Budkick, who can call themselves Pro Teams Champions, ahead of Altitude Esports, with Altitude Esports Blue able to sneak in to third place in Pro. Pro-Am, it's Atomic Esports who win that championship ahead of Full Tilt v Motorsport by 54 points. ADX Racing Team round out in third place. Peter, that was a lot of action for us to contend with, and I do believe if we get a couple of thoughts from you, we'll be able to hand it over to our Pro Champion.
Yeah, very well deserved Pro Champion, it must be said. Jack Sedgwick, who didn't get off to the best start of the season, but my goodness me, did he did he put it on in that second half. Took full advantage of when he had a strong car and came out on top. So we'll try and get a word with him in just a moment to see how he feels about that. And finally, kind of getting the monkey off his back, Jack Sedgwick joins us now. Jack, congratulations, you provisionally at least are the 2024 World GT champion. How does that feel?
I mean, after being so close so many times, it feels really good, to be honest. I drove well today, second half of the season. Showing about the few incidents today, kind of helping me out in a way, but I guess that's racing.
Yeah, you're right. These things can happen. I mean, tell us what that's like going into such a tight championship finale, knowing the points are so close and knowing you've been so close so many times. How did you conquer that mental challenge within yourself?
I think a lot of it's about trying not to let your kind of position get into your head. Doing stupid dive bombs or whatever. Like in race 1, for example, when I was battling with Alex Davidson, I could have, sent it back up the inside, but it's better to think about the overall picture in these kind of races.
And with that overall picture in mind, Jack, when you've got so many, you're trying to beat Ross in the Drivers' Championship and all of his teammates are there, do you have to keep that in mind that they're maybe not going to be quite as friendly and any teammates of your rival are maybe not going to be quite as friendly? Is that something that goes through your mind when you're trying to win a championship?
Maybe a little bit, yeah, but I don't think there's anything too egregious. It's just hard, fair racing, to be honest. And I can't really ask for much more than that.
I totally agree. I mean, now that you've got one under the belt, Jack, does that give you the motivation to come back and go for the double next season?
I'll for sure be back next season to try and do it all again.
Well, Jack, it was a superb performance, a thoroughly deserved World GT Championship. Go and enjoy this win, and we'll see you next season.
Yep, cheers. Thanks for commentating, guys, and thanks for having me.
Great to hear there from our Pro Class champion, Jack Sedgwick. And off the back of one champion, we've got another coming to join us who I'm sure will be delighted. Adam Watson, welcome here to the RaceSpotTV commentary booth. You are a World GT champion. How does that feel?
It feels pretty good. It's been probably one of the hardest seasons going, and it just feels so good.
You've had a lot on out with of the sim racing world with your early stages of a career in motorsport, etc. How have you balanced that, outside commitment with your sim racing commitments here? Because as we know, it requires a lot of hours behind the wheel. How have you balanced that challenge?
Not great. I can't lie. Not great. Going into this round, preparation wasn't great. I was at Silverstone yesterday, and so I've been there since Thursday, and it's been difficult for sure trying to do that because it's like early stages, say, be at uni at the same time, and then races. It can be tough, but managed it somehow.
And another balance that I personally think, looking from the outside in, that you've conquered incredibly well is, shall we say, taming the inner Tasmanian devil that we know lives within you, Adam, when you get behind the wheel of a racing car. This has been a totally different driver you've brought to this championship. It's been a measured, consistent approach. We know how much you love a battle. How much has that been a challenge, keeping that in check to get this championship under your belt?
I've got to thank Mark for that. Mark's been the biggest person to have that happen. There's been so many times where if I hadn't done something, the result would have been better. And believe it or not, I nearly didn't do the start of the season. I was very much like, I'm not going to do it. I've been doing it for 7 seasons, maybe have a break. And then I was like, do you know what? I'll do it. Seeing then obviously went to the Porsche, and I was like, I could have a really good result here, and it was just knowing, speaking to Mark, and Mark had basically having a conversation with me, was I need to just focus, be consistent, because that's how you win the championship. It's being consistent.
And it's worked. It's worked to full effect. Adam, congratulations on a well-deserved championship, and we sincerely hope we see you back to defend it next year.
Thank you. I will be hopefully doing my best, and hopefully I can defend it.
So, off the back of two champions, let's have a word with the man who puts it all together, the Stefan Rattel of the World GT Championship, shall we say, Andy Shield. Andy, we've made it to the end of the season, and I tell you what, we couldn't have asked more for a thrilling finale. Could you have imagined that?
Well, I think going into the last round to have all championships as close as they were, from the drivers to the team championships, was we far exceeded my expectations, and I think everybody really enjoyed the chase. Ultimately, creates a lot of excitement on the grid and keeps people interested as well.
Tell us about this season, because from our viewpoint here in the commentary box, the driving standards, and I think you'll agree with me, that was something that needed work on after a couple of quite fractious seasons. This season, it's just been night and day. What would you put that down to?
I think it's the elimination of the 3 sprint rounds that we were having. Those fast and furious races, great to watch, and when they go well, they're fantastic. But when they go wrong, they go horribly wrong. So trying to adapt and improve on what we're doing is ultimately what we're always striving to do. And I think the addition of the special rounds, which added an element of sprint, but also a slightly longer second race, from my point of view, and I think it's been echoed through the virtual paddock, really suits the format. The cars really suit that type of format. So I think that's something we will explore doing more of into next season. And then, of course, there were the questions on whether we include weather. That's something we will look at doing. So I'm sure you will see a few work races appearing. With that, of course, there will be some steep learning curves for some, especially as the weather could be a little bit changeable, and there will be a whole different strategy approach that will need to be taken with the drivers across the championship.
Well, I for one can't wait for that, Andy. Andy, congratulations on putting together a superb championship, a great turnout of competitors, and great quality as well. Go and enjoy a well-earned rest, and we'll see you next season.
Thanks, Peter, and a shout out to yourself and Paul and Chaz, Cannery, as well, for obviously facilitating this, and obviously thanks to our sponsors, Freem, Simutech, and the drivers, stewards, who make it all possible. Without the drivers, there isn't a championship. So thanks to everyone who participated and raced to the very end, and hope to see you again soon.
So we've got another couple of quick interviews for you folks. We're spoiling you here at the end of this broadcast here. Let's speak to Simon Andre Livingston first. Simon, just finally before we step away for the end of the season, tell us about your thoughts on a 2024 World GT Championship.
Yeah, this has been an amazing series to racing, and I have had so much fun and progression and learned so much. And in the end, it wasn't enough to get Mucella. He was consistent through the season, but I'm super happy with what I think is a P2. I don't think I have any penalties this round, so I think I got a P2. So I'm happy, super happy.
Well, we congratulate you on your performance this season, Simon Andre. It's been really impressive, and look forward to joining you again and seeing you out there again next season.
For sure, I will for sure be back if it fits my schedule, for sure.
So we have one final interview for you, and we've saved one of the best for last. We have our AM champion who's made his way up to the commentary booth to join us, Giuseppe Moschella, in his Porsche. Wow, how impressive. Giuseppe, congratulations. You are the World GT champion in the AM class. Just how does that feel?
Oh man, thank you, man. I'm not speaking English very well. You move Deleo in the picture, translate. Ok, perfetto.
Well, thank you, Giuseppe, for coming to join us. You drove a superb championship. Well done, and we look forward to seeing you next season.
Okay, Giuseppe, sorry guys, I translate for Moschella. Giuseppe ti hanno chiesto complimenti per la vincita e appunto come è andata insomma la gara.
È andata bene. Praticamente nelle ultime 3 gare ho cercato solo di gestire, dato il vantaggio, e cercare di perdere meno punti possibili dal secondo. Quindi cercare di rischiare il meno possibile e cercare di non perdere punti, ecco.
Okay, I'm very happy for this season, and in the last 3 races, I try to do my best to don't lose more points, to carry on with the season, to carry on with the leadership in the season.
Well, thank you so much for that. A thoroughly deserved championship, and yeah, again, we look forward to hopefully seeing you again back out on track next season. Well done, Giuseppe.
Ok, Giuseppe ti hanno fatto i complimenti di nuovo e se vorrai appunto fare per la prossima season, se vorrai anche continuare insomma per questo discorso qua. Vorrei
Ok,
continuare così.
ringraziali e vuol dire che volevo ringraziare tutti, sia i miei compagni di squadra, il team per il supporto, tutti gli sponsor e grazie per l'organizzazione e per tutto.
Okay, so I'm very happy, and for next season, yeah, for sure I wanna try again this championship because I'm very happy, and I wanna do very thank you to all team, our sponsor. They support us every day in every season, in everything.
Well, there we go. Congratulations to all of our champions here today. Peter, just very quickly, final thoughts on the season here. It's been a sensational season, in my opinion, and one of the best. One of the ones for the record books.
I think it's the best yet, actually. I think it really has. Andy Shield mentioned a little change to the format. I think that worked really, really well. Some great drivers, great teams. It could have gone any one of 3 ways. And if it was Ross McFarlane, if it was Jack Sedgwick, it was James Boumé, they all would have been equally deserving. It went Jack's way. And as we said, he's come so close so many times. He finally could call himself a World GT Championship and goes home happy. It's great stuff.
Certainly do. Well, the World Sim Racing action doesn't finish because, of course, keep an eye on RaceSpotTV for the World Sports Car Championship on Tuesday evenings. But that's it from Season 15 of the World GT Championship. It's been a pleasure to have you all along the way. Thank you to all the series admins, the sponsors of the series, the drivers, Peter Mackay, anybody else who has joined me in the commentary box as well. Conor Maddock, Dame Baird, and others behind the scenes, Hugo Luis at RaceSpotTV. It has been a fun and thrill ride of a season. Until next time, from everybody here at RaceSpotTV, it's goodbye for now.